Nelson Mandela's The Long Walk to Freedom. Now, in this particular lesson, they talk about racism. Now, racism is a socially rooted evil which oppresses certain sections of society in the name of color and ethnic backgrounds. So, we have heard of Mahatma Gandhi going to South Africa, where he was actually thrown off a train just because of his color. Although he had a first class ticket, he was thrown out of the compartment because that time a lot of racism was prevalent in South Africa. So in this particular lesson, we talk about Mandela, Nelson Mandela, Rohilala Mandela. That was his name. He was born in 1918, and when he joined school, he was given the name Nelson, according to the customs of those times, giving all school children Christian names. He studied BA, Bachelor of Arts, in the University College of Fort Eyre, but then he was expelled from this particular university college because he took part in a student protest. And later, he completed his BA and law degree from the University of South Africa. All these times, he was increasingly politically committed, and thus he joined the African National Congress in 1944. He was arrested in a countrywide police swoop on December 1956, and then there was a trial called the 1956 treason trial. Just before the treason trial, he adopted the name David Motsamai and secretly left South Africa. He was charged with leaving the country without a permit and inciting the workers to strike, and thus he was convicted and sentenced to 5 years imprisonment. He started serving this particular prison sentence at the local Victoria State Prison, and on 10th May 1994, he was declared as South Africa's first democratically elected president. He stepped down within 5 years. He ruled South Africa only for one term, true to his commitment that he would be a president only for one particular term. And he went on to set up the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund. He established the Nelson Mandela Foundation and Mandela Rhodes Foundation. And always he never wavered in his devotion to democracy, equality, and learning. Despite terrible provocation, he never answered racism with racism. So if someone would or said some racism slurs against him, he would not talk back. His life was an inspiration to all, and this particular autobiography, written in 1994, also called The Long Walk to Freedom, is about Nelson Mandela, and it profiles his early life, the education, and the 27 years spent at the prison in Victoria. Then this particular book went on to get the Alan Paton Award in 1995, and this also became a movie in 1995. This particular movie was released in 1999. Yes, and we are in this particular text. We are going to talk about those last days. The last days when they were about to get freedom from the South African president, F.W. de Klerk. So, this is the text that I am going to discuss about. And the time or the date is February 2nd, 1990. F.W. de Klerk, he stands before the parliament and he tells them that he is going to truly begin the work of dismantling the apartheid system to lay a groundwork for a democratic South Africa. Naturally, everyone was very angry, and he also announced the lifting of the bans of the African National Congress, the PAC, that is the Pan-Africanist Congress of Tanzania, and other 31 illegal organizations. And he also wanted to free political prisoners who were incarcerated or who were always attacked for non-violent activities. And this particular sweeping action, this particular breathtaking action, with this he almost virtualized and normalized the whole of South Africa. Suddenly, the world had changed for Nelson Mandela. 41 years of persecution and banishment. He was out of the country, then he was not accepted. Suddenly, the African National Congress was accepted as a legal organization. Now, he and his friends, comrades, could no longer be arrested for being a member of African National Congress. And for the first time in almost 30 years, his picture and his words and his friends' words would freely appear in South African newspapers. Naturally, the whole world applauded F.W. de Klerk and his bold statements. But the ANC, its African National Congress, had still said that he had not completely lifted the state of emergency in certain townships. But still, this was a good beginning. And after this, on February 9th, 1 week later, Nelson Mandela was informed that he was going to Tunis. He arrived there at 6 o'clock in the evening and he found a smiling F.W. de Klerk in his office and they shook hands. F.W. de Klerk informed that Nelson Mandela was going to be released in the next day. Everywhere in South Africa, in the press, world over, everybody had been speculating for weeks that Nelson Mandela would be released. But Nelson Mandela, in his mind, although he was very happy, but such a short notice to be free suddenly, he somehow did not want that. He wanted at least a week's notice so that his family and his organization could be prepared for this release. Naturally, they wanted to make it a big sort of festival. But so he requested F.W. de Klerk to release him only after 7 days. Although he has been waiting for the past 27 years, so he could certainly wait for another 7 days. At this statement, F.W. de Klerk was shocked or surprised. And he said, no, don't worry, you will be flying towards Johannesburg and I will be releasing you there. And that's settled. But then Nelson Mandela said, I strongly object to this. I want to walk out of this Victor Verster prison and meet the people of Cape Town, where this prison was. And I would like to be in Cape Town for some time because I've been here for about 3 decades. And then he would go back to Johannesburg and he would like to choose the dates and not when the government says so. F.W. de Klerk was nonplussed. I mean, he said, nothing doing. This is the way. But let me just consult my other people who have also who are also in line with me. And after 10 minutes, he returned and said, "I'm sorry, Mr. Mandela. There is no way to change the plan. It is too late now. We have already announced to the world that you are going to be released. And so, the plan of you wanting to be released after 7 days is not acceptable. However, you will be released at Victor Wester and not yours." For this, Nelson Mandela again said that this was not acceptable and he wanted some more time. Again, F.W. de Klerk excused himself, he left the room, and after 10 minutes he came back with a compromise. "Yes, I'll release you from Victor Wester, but no, the release could not be postponed. You are going to be released tomorrow itself." And that the government of South Africa, they have already informed the foreign press that you would be set free tomorrow and you cannot go back on it. Immediately, F.W. de Klerk poured a glass of whiskey for each of them to drink in celebration. Nelson Mandela had to accept, and he raised the glass in a toast, but only pretended to drink because Nelson Mandela, for him, such a drink was too strong for him. And when he went back to the prison, to the cottage, he sent word to his colleagues in Cape Town that he would be released the next day. He also messaged his wife, Winnie Mandela. He also telephoned a friend of his, Walter, in Johannesburg. They immediately said that they would fly down to Victor Wester, Cape Town, and they would also on a chartered plane. And that evening, a number of people, of ANC people, formed a reception committee. They came to the cottage to draft a statement that Nelson Mandela would make the next day, and they left the early wee hours of the night. And although all this exciting was there, Nelson Mandela knew that he was going to have freedom, but still he had no trouble falling asleep. So this story, this section from the autobiography, talks about how Nelson Mandela was very adamant about becoming free, about his struggles on the anti-apartheid struggle, and his perseverance, his leadership, his complex interplay between personal sacrifices and political movements, and his extraordinary resilience and steadfast belief that eventually justice will triumph and there will be equality for all. Thank you very much, and please do subscribe so that more videos like this will